Welcome back. Got some more shallograms. Sorry if this is a lot of shallogram episodes in a row, and I kind of forgot about the Earth, if you will. But they're so cool. Okay, so this one immediately we notice they're crooked. It doesn't really make sense. The angles in there, it's almost like current flows were inducing both sides, and there was some imbalance. See teeth up there, maybe a little bit there. The wave of material over on this side, on the wide side, not on the narrow side. This is looking in. Atop it, it's got like a mouth now with ammonite spiral over here with like a thinned region where this current perhaps went atop the rock as well here, like a flame even, and then out this crack maybe around to this one. So maybe the current coming in here, fed across and around. That's over there, and then maybe continues around here, where then interacted with this region to produce like ripples outward from points that then look like seashells, because that's how they're generally created in geological ways that are not just biological. Cross current. This gets much bigger than over here. It's almost like it's squeezed over here and then fanning out over here. Or vice versa. It's coming in and then running into resistance over in this region, especially starting at this boundary. Another angle and another shot in there. Another angle, opposite side. We can see if we go back to here, the bigger side is where this goes out compared to the jaw. Just to get an idea, when we're over here, so the bigger side it goes out, which is where this is. Kind of makes sense that this would be on this side and not on the side where all the energy was not focused. It was more so focused over here by the imbalance between the chakras. Like, it even looks like a chakra's over here and one's over here. Interesting. And there's this little, almost like another chakra more in line here, like it was behaving like a chakra off the side. Like, why is that there? From an ammonite standpoint, like, these things are anomalous. Highly anomalous the way they are. A little too jagged. Brings to mind one that I thought maybe was counterfeit recently, because it looked almost like waves colliding and creating upwell. Okay, here's another one. This one, initially I was like, maybe it's not real. But the more I looked at it, I was like, okay, this thing's amazing. So it's got this weird boundary to this. And then teeth even. Oh my god. And then we get to the other side of the rock. We see one of those drills where it's coming in, drilling. Kind of like did I pass it? Like this one, where it's coming in, drilling, and producing an ammonite. In this case, where it just goes in and out because it comes in at an angle more slanted with the rock. And then there's this one somewhere up here. Here it is. Here it is. This one with the drill hole that goes in and creates a chakra, and then the ammonite shell around it, but where the only opening into the rock is this. And it looks kind of like if a current's coming in, drilling in, and then like going up this side of the rock though, and then going around and creating a rounded backside with this flat side based on that. So it's got one of those. We can see it's got little rings to it, but interestingly, this one has, it's going up here, like it's got one circle, and then it's got another boundary over here. I'm not sure if it has a second circle as much as just having like a first circle with a second larger boundary that becomes like it started here and then it started fanning out into an oval shape and created this shape. It's kind of what I'm thinking. We can see inside there pretty good. Much more of a full-blown ammonite inside. Let me just go back a few. So here's that, notice the openings here. Here's this ammonite structure. And then here's that other opening. So it's almost like it's drilling in and bending the rock around that pressure point where it's especially pointing into, because the rock is still forming and malleable in currents itself. So it bends the rock here. It actually creates an indentation at that pressure point, as well as it creates this ammonite structure that reaches through to the other side. It spirals out over here into this region, which is probably like why this is so anomalous here, because there's this drilling current coming across it that gets caught in the rock and starts to spiral the rock out, I guess this way, where then material comes this way. So it drills in, and this is a real cool picture, because we can see this boundary, and then that, and then this. Possibly over here, but not necessarily. Maybe like there, even over this way to here, and then it has another, and then over this way. So it has like a channel and a channel across a polygonal boundary of the top that maybe is at a like some relationship to this channel. Like this comes in, goes to some center of the rock, that then it deflects off into other ways, or it goes off this way, creating a current around the rock that comes back this way. Unclear. Incredible, though. This thing is incredible. Incredible. The structure, oh my god, this. Dendrites. The dendrite, that's where the dendrites show up in this region. So this must be some region of this nature that's more shale-like, that still has a dendrite formed by this nature. Opening again, just to find these etchings. Incredible. This literally disproves all of science. This video is going to have another one that disproves all of science, but this one does too. Like, why are these here? Why is there a window that goes right to the chakras? It's not even part of the other window, this window. It just basically goes to the chakras and then fans out in a vortex type of way too, where by fanning out it leads to a vortex in the rock that literally is just like explosive out this side. It almost looks like it has opened a path, and then the current that was going through here and out here was able to just go through all of the channels, it like pours through it, as well as all the channels, without actually removing more material, or the current relented enough where it just stopped forming because it has so much material left. Save the video, like what? Can't zoom in. This is from Mangalam Jewelry also. Anything with these leaves from this video is from there. The white backgrounds, oops, are okay. Next one, white backgrounds are from Rudraksh Guru. Okay, this one I thought interesting because it just had a lot of detail. Like, this looks odd. This looks odd to me, first of all. Like, I don't think it's in line with the spiral around this. Like, it doesn't look like it fits the spiral. So it's just odd, anomalous. And then there's these little chunks, like the ones we've come across recently. It also has like a nucleus thing here, I noticed, and then another one over here, maybe here, maybe a third, that are kind of not this material. I don't know what to make of it. Structure fanning out this way. It's almost like the gold, this material is getting drawn in while the shale is getting drawn out. Another angle, we can kind of see the side of a structure there. It's like spiraling out kind of looking thing. I think that's what's going on there. Very odd. Very odd. So many. So many questionable features about this one, like in terms of traditional interpretation, like this right here. What is happening? Like, is it a cross section into the core here? And like another chakra would be even higher above? I don't know. Opposite side. Okay, this one disproves science. Like it just does. Okay, how cool is this? Just how cool. All these little features in here. Whoa, looks like chains or something different. A little more blocky than usual. This I thought interesting. This points like right to this tip where it's kind of protruding. We can kind of see lines like going this way, and then going this way, and around this way. Maybe a current goes in here, goes up. Generally up, but then starts to wrap around. Like it just goes back this way and flows over and atop this a bit. Is able to get atop it, but here it was venting more, so it wasn't able to. The current was flowing out of this first one more because it had built up current, but then at this point it was more able to just go through smaller pores, so this material was able to overlay it more. Something of that nature, maybe. Initially I was thinking it went up and over. Maybe it goes this way and down, and like there's a channel back down there also. That is part of why it tends to do this. But this thing, like this isn't pseudo-ammonite. Like it's literally in the shell, perfectly embedded in the shell, with just a current through the shell that runs up to it, and then this weird thing, and then the tail. All of this perfectly embedded. And then it's got these little lines coming from it that don't seem to be elsewhere, that point to where the dendrites are, like, more pronounced. Like, if there's currents coming off of this section, going up here, up around, and then some of it flowing into these channels to overlay them as this forms. Initially it was within all of it, but then it starts to exit from within the boundaries of the rock, which then creates a boundary. And so this material can either like stretch out atop it, or it can just not form because there's a current flowing that's shaping this. So essentially it manages to block some of this here, not here. So maybe it's related to that, and being like perfectly at this point and at this point. Then this current seems to possibly like go into the channel and then maybe across. Like it was kind of doing this, but it wasn't quite able to. But by doing this, it provided like tension in the region to hold this in place while it formed. Whatever exactly happened here, because it's not quite an ammonite. It's not quite anything. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's considered some fossil, but like it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. Especially with the nuances around it. It even looks possibly related to that. Thinking like this flow here starts a current here, which then pulls current this way. generally from across here too, pulling current, but then there's pulling current and it goes across and goes like this, which then maybe produces a tail over time. And then like goes across, starts pulling current. It's going generally across, let's say, especially at the boundary of here. And more so as we approach past this where a current overwhelms. So like here and possibly behind it a little bit to a degree. But comes in here, goes across this way, and starts to pull up this way because there's less pressure here from around this way. Like this, whatever's going on here is perhaps protecting currents from flowing this way, which then draws current up this way, but it's flowing this way, so it draws it into a circular pattern that then, like, as it builds up over here, the current flowing this way then just feeds into this circle and flows like this while going under and over to here, which then builds up more pressure, and it goes to an even further interior current that goes across like that, maybe. I don't know. But then as it's doing that, it's literally drawing current this way, which then it sends current this way. Some of it goes through here because of the less pressure in this region having so much outflow that's just out, that it provides a wall that currents flowing this way cannot get through. So then here is able to actually have more currents flow this way, and it maybe even feeds into that. Just the thought, even if that's not what happened, there's no fossilization explanation for this perfectly embedded structure inside of the shell of the ammonite. And then this image, yesterday I was talking about in this one, how there's two. Maybe I can try to pull it up. One ammonite here and a second ammonite here. And how there's layers within the spiraling ammonite structure. This really shows it. We can see the boundary here, another one here, another one here. They're just stacking. At this point, they're just stacking. Even chakras there, possibly. That looks very ammonite shaped. Very shallogram-like feature in like this kind of sense. Maybe there too. I mean, wow. So cool. Oh my god. Clearly, water was just erupting through these channels. Through the channels because it broke the boundary. Like, it could come out here, but it didn't have enough pressure. And it usually doesn't because of just the circumstances. But in this case, it just blew the side here. Through these three channels especially. That's incredible. It really is. Oh my god. Not only did it blow its side, but it's where the dendrites are. Definitely just showing dendrites form where more turbulent currents are, which leads to more likelihood of this kind of thing happening. This was so extreme that it's just like perfect rock, perfect blown out region. Like it doesn't really make sense fossilization standpoint. Oh my god. And what a beautiful chakra. Look at that. And whatever's going on here. This. Like, what? Oh my god. Incredible. You can see this little hook here. So maybe it's bringing current over from this side too. If that was what was happening, how it was manifesting was from a current this way. If so, possibly a current this way. Would that make sense? Maybe. Then ran into like it ran into a wall here. I don't know why it would flow that way, but bending and then getting to a point where it could go between these. This was kind of protecting it from cross current this down through the channel. And it just ran into the wall though and bent until it went down this way. I mean, this here, I don't know what to make of that. Unless it was some kind of like short circuit that didn't just flow with the current, because then it would go like this. Unless it did that, reached like pressure and had a back pressure that went through that way. Because that would kind of make more sense if the pressure was flowing this way, that it would then apply interaction over here with this wall rather than just purely be protected by it, but also be playing a role in its manifestation. Oh my god, this is gorgeous. The little feet here, what? Let's try to find that real quick. Let's see. I think that's it. Yes. I just want to see it a little more. I'm pretty sure there's a video I didn't save. Incredible. Incredible. Can even see it widening here, like an ammonite would. Oh my god. Makes me think of Damn it, Orkund. Where all these slits are. That I believe, like, there's another one here, there's another one there, probably. has this ammonite shape, and then this shape. Very much makes me think of the way those are layered. Oh my god. I'm wondering if this also had a inlet current that shaped the rock, that shaped the rock that maybe came in there. Like generally had like a size like that and came in at this general position and then went around the rock and started to shape the overall structure, but left behind some remnant of the source current's path because it was still the source current, so it was still etching in a shape there as the rock started to have like less and less of a boundary. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. This one, now we're on Rudraksh Guru. The rest of them, not straight chakras. If we look at this, this doesn't make any sense. No sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever to these, and it doesn't get better. Go over here and suddenly what is going on? That's the other side. So going this way, we see this. So it kind of comes together and then goes across. Like, what is going on? We can see some lines here going this way, this way, this way, this way, maybe this way. So maybe there's a current generally based on these that's like going this way, which is generally going across here and across this way. We can see straight lines here pretty good. Just then going across to the backside around here, but then there's current definitely going in other ways. It literally makes no sense. It makes no sense from a fossilization standpoint. Currents can just do this. Currents have that capacity where they can flow and form complex boundaries because of nuances. Shells from ammonites can't do that. They just can't do that. It's perfectly straight here. And then it just like has a little skip and then it goes wraps down awkwardly to connect to this and then goes over here in some abnormal way and then just spikes up here. Has little step things here. Some sort of location, I guess, where whatever's going this way and whatever's going this way swirls back in and goes up this way, and then they break off that way. So maybe this one goes up and into here, ends up pushing there and up that way, while this one goes within and swirls in here. I don't know. Or they kind of both do both. Another one that makes no sense. I don't really need to explain it. It just makes no sense. It's really enough at this point. Like these fractures, and then there's this. That's right. There's this, like a beam of current was flowing here, which then went into the rock here, which probably relates to why these cracks are so weird. They're almost like a triple junction that then had an ammonite form. An eddy form, I guess, more appropriately, not an ammonite. An ammonite's just what we call the fossilized eddies. So I'm willing to call it ammonite, but it is confusing if people just interpret ammonite equals biological, period. Definitely current going that way, etching pretty big lines across there, and then that way. And it looks like it's going across that way too. At their intersection region is this, where these are going up, these are going over, more so. Like we for sure see up here dominating, over dominating here. This is maybe a current atop this current, where this current comes over, bounces up, and goes back down, pushing down on the higher current that it cuts through and then goes back through again, maybe. Lots of little nuances on the... Okay. Couple more here that I thought were interesting. I didn't feel like taking pictures of, though. We can just see an outlet point etched at the general end of this anomaly there. Nice and smooth, kind of like I was suggesting this, but this still has the dendrite, so it's not quite the same, but it just shows how the interior can have an exterior appearance like this does from my last two videos. Definitely not perfectly etched either. It's kind of just derpy looking. Also, this is not really centered. Interesting. It kind of reminds me, like if we... I guess hold it this way. The way it has like a roundedness that comes to a point kind of like over here, but then it has like a flat face and then a relatively flat face, but they don't point to like the center. Kind of reminds me of how this is, and like if it were to break here, it'd be kind of like that, as well as it has like some protrusions that maybe relate in ways. Okay, that was pretty much all I thought about this one. There's definitely current flows to check out on it. This one, again, like it doesn't make sense. A shell did this? A shell did this. It really doesn't make sense. And then all the features around it. They probably line up. I wouldn't be surprised if I looked around if I could find some patterns showing connectedness. I mean, I didn't look at it yet, and I felt like that might be a little daunting with the number of potentials on it. But I'm sure it's there. Like, that looks pretty in a line. That's kind of parallel to that thing. So maybe there's something of that nature going on that maybe goes over there. Something going this way. Looks like those dots are kind of in line with that. Where was that? Is that it? That. Almost. I wonder if it's related to this. Like if a current's going in through the side that then goes exits out here. Which is maybe why it's not etching over here so much. Maybe. This one I just thought was interesting because of how it just has these very perpendicular to this structures here. Like it was a counter current that's the interior current and the exterior current of maybe materials flowing generally in opposite directions due to the relative mass of the particles within the currents, making the current flows able to move them more or less than one another, so that they ultimately go in opposite directions that then manifest as actually that in reality, where there's like a boundary of shale and a boundary of this orange, whatever the materials is that are impurities to the shales, the black shale that counters it, that then like determines the final nucleus or leading edge of the final slice of the ammonite that can form. Like it could be stopping here and having currents here, but it didn't because the interior pressure was pushing out enough to form all of these up to here, at which point the shale did overwhelm it. Kind of what I was thinking. Looks like there's some exterior adjacent ammonite also that was forming, or maybe related to it. It looks like it might connect over here. Like right there. I want to be surprised if this is feeding in to this, which was then like forming exterior to the rock, but in a way that this system's outflow through like these little grooves through the grooves had like a preferred groove path maybe out this way down here generally, that then went out there, which then added to the coloration over here, pulling it maybe even at the opposite bottom side of it. I don't know, or just etching in enough to expose some of the interior materials like that, because the rocks definitely got a lot of it. I don't know, Might have just been eroded back to, like, it looks like it once had a surface more like this and it was eroded back. Like, it even looks like it was not as eroded back here, so it still has that surface. But here, the currents just overwhelmed this side, this face for too long, and the shale's just gone, I guess. Okay, guys, that's all I got for now. I'm gonna probably stop talking about Shallowgram soon for a while. I feel like it's probably getting a little much if people aren't that interested. Like, I'm sure people realize they're cool, but at some point it probably is a little much. I mean, I'm certainly finding new things though, so I don't want to stop like too soon. But I also don't want to just continuously force it. Like recently, I was listening to Randall Carlson. Maybe I'll just mention this, and he was talking about the Mississippi, this region, and it draining down here into this region, and I'm just like, okay, well, that was around, so this, like, I've seen this, I've talked about it a lot, I haven't, like, heard anyone even mention it. So that was the first time I heard someone mention it, and apparently it was, like, formed generally in the Ice Age. So that puts us saying that this flow that was coming out this way, that even, like, fanned out possibly over here, like, based on this, it, like, just kept going over here, presumably, like, but, like, there's all these salts here. I looked them up. They formed in the Jurassic. $200 to 145 million radiometric dating. So I'm like, dude, these formed from this water that was dated to around the Younger Dryas. So we're like timing a Jurassic process that for sure is the result of this water that was flowing at this width and probably greater, like covering the entire Earth. But then once it started to drain off the continents into the newly forming ocean beds because the Earth was expanding, then it like boiled here and left a deposit of just ridiculous quantities of water, as well as it, like, as it drained, it formed these actual paths. That's when it started to really show the paths, when the draining, like, got low enough that there were boundaries, that there were regions without water. Then it really focused down these channels. So there's that kind of stuff going on. Like, I've definitely related the Missoula flood with the Columbian River basalt. In my Eye to Eye and Snake Eyes videos and others. So, like, I'm trying to precisely time them relative to one another based on what I'm seeing and see if that, like, fits the timelines. Like, if there's not, like, I don't have to take, like, something up here, put it down in here, down here, and, like, totally rearrange the sequence of the dating methods. If the dating methods are just, like, one's way too wide and the other is more appropriate, then it should just be necessary to just, like, squeeze it back to the appropriate size And then they overlay without having to like rearrange fingers. Okay. Peace out, guys. It was fun. Much love. See you later.